I've got the stream up just in case we need to
Yeah, we can do a quick
test
sound. You can do a quick sound check if you want. But yeah, it looks like
I got it for a completely different reason, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, everything on this end at least looks like it's working normally.
Yeah.
All right. So, welcome once again to Sound Goblin Gaming stuff, things, I don't know, D&D in Hindsight, as we move on to Heroes of Battle and the beginning of Season 2. Not that I've really actually delineated the season in a meaningful way. So, first and foremost, gentlemen, behold! The power of F11.
Oh!
Something I probably should have done like 21 books ago.
Oh my god, have you really not been?
No! I forgot that key existed and just realized it would actually work with this thing.
Oh my god.
Wonderful.
So, any case, I'm Vincent.
I'm the Krampus.
I'm Hunter Grain.
And I'm Vincent. Shiv will be joining us probably soon. He is currently streaming with HP Braincase because anticipated game came out today.
It's true.
I'll let the audience guess which one.
It's actually funny. I actually thought it came out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to see Shiv booted up on Steam earlier.
It's one of those things of like release date is between one and the other. No, we're not going to tell you what the popular game is. We'll just let you assume whatever the most recent popular game for when you watch this video is the popular game.
Is that Shiny or is that Shade? Fucking Shade.
Shade. Oh, from.
I do what I'm doing what I normally do when we're doing streams. Is I do something Pokemon related on my Switch in the background.
Ah.
And there's a shiny outbreak that has stuff I actually want to get. But because the lighting engine they have going really strong in Scarlet and Violet, sometimes it's really tough to tell if something is shiny or just in the shade.
Yeah, that tracks. Okay, it's back to what we're actually doing here. So this is Heroes of Battle, the first of the two Heroes of books, which attempt to give you alternate ways of doing a fantasy setting than the dungeon diving adventurers robbing the ruins of ancient fallen civilizations for every bit of treasure they can find. This book instead focuses on battles in a fantasy setting. D&D's roots lie with Chainmail, a Grognar-style tabletop wargame built for battles between rival armies that was combined with the proto-RPGs of Bromstein and Blackmoor. So if you're looking for a book that goes backwards in a way that lets you play mass battles in a somewhat clunky and overbuilt system that is D20, then you should keep looking, because that is not what this book is.
Okay.
This book is still ill-assuming the players are a party of characters led around by a DM who certainly knows what he's doing and has intricate plans and machinations, certainly isn't panicking internally and making up on the fly in order to repair what he had planned thanks to the tangential thinking of his players. But instead of a dungeon, you be on a battlefield in a high fantasy setting participating in war in some way or another. In other words, it's the back chapter of Complete Warrior made into an entire book. And starting with the first chapter, the War Campaign. Yeah. So this gives a general outline of what to expect in War Campaign and what you'll be doing. PCs are just a group on the battlefield doing what they can to accomplish various missions. That being the general idea of it. So you're not literally fighting the entire battle at the same time. You're basically in vignettes here or there, or participating in various guerrilla missions or etc. Depending on really what the DM has planned. And how much what the PCs do matters is up to the DM and the narrative, though having things happen for plot advancement is a lot easier to justify when the PCs are just a cog in a machine, in the machine of an army. Let's see. This also goes over various concerns in this chapter, like loot and treasure in a war setting. because you can take stuff from your enemies when you kill them the same as a normal adventurer behavior is, but finding a place to sell them is a bit more tricky, so the alternate economics are a concern to work out in ways like, traveling merchants or just a good old-fashioned requisition system, which can also fill in mission-specific equipment as well. Or you could just buy what you need from a shady cat.
You have coin, he has wares.
Yep. War also has a lot of downtime for the PCs to accomplish various things between battles and more role-playing variety, as well as various between battle missions. Again, that infiltration, espionage, etc. And there's a variety of different mission types away from battle, intelligence gathering, disinformation campaigns, all that stuff that's fun for the whole family. And here's some basic military organization stuff. So yeah, really simple terms that may or may not reference in later chapters, but yeah. Squad, 10 privates and a corporal, platoon, 2 or more squads, company, 2 or more platoons, etc., etc., etc. And just names for each rank. In it, like here's a feudal hierarchy, here's a clan hierarchy, there's a clan military structure, etc. Just different names for the same stuff, basically. Okay. Second chapter, Building Adventures. The DM part of the book, basically. And where I have a lot more notes here. So yeah, hooks for the PCs. Hooks for a Battlefield campaign are probably much easier to come up with than a normal dungeon crawl, actually. It's finding out a reason for PCs would be doing stuff for an army is a grab bag of easy to understand motivations that fit a variety of characters, which is more than I can actually say about dungeon delving. Just
especially easy if they are part of the army and you just say, hey, these are your orders.
They're part of the army for various reasons, like we're paying you, or we drafted you, or you actually belong to this nation and volunteered to be a soldier for some reason, or stuff like that. Let's see. Also, in a war campaign scenario, and flow of events is even more up to DM as usual. As PCs can only do so much as a group to, I don't know, 1 to 87 people, depending on how many people you have at your table. And so that's great if you're trying to actually have a narrative going in a direction that you want. And you give the players interesting scenarios to roleplay and problem solve, and not just reenacting the Battle of Gettysburg in a fantasy setting for a captive audience or something. Yeah, basically, the narrative of a war campaign is going to be a lot more structured almost by design, because the PCs can't throw too much, hypothetically at least, can't throw too much that's going to change the grander course of events. When you're dealing with armies of tens of thousands, especially, or even just thousands. Or accidentally pressing escape keys, but ignoring that.
Oh, nothing.
Yep. Also, larger maps of troop movements can help sell the narrative in simple and quick ways. You could design a mass battle system / steal one from whatever they are in, or from wherever they are in 3.5 or Pathfinder, which are serviceable and nothing that we're caring about, honestly, if you want them to be more involved in stuff that's happening outside. Or you can, just tell them what the hell is happening. And then there's this nonsense. Also, the picture quality in my copy of this book isn't that great, so sorry about how blurry this is, but you kind of get the idea. Yeah, so here's the adventure flowchart that they recommend for battles, or... Okay, I'm just going to stop you right here with the adventure flowchart idea. So the problem with making a detailed flowchart for an adventure is the need to predict the possible PC actions in a scenario, which is... complex enough in a setting where the DM has a reasonable idea of what characters can accomplish before you take into account the X, Y, and Z factors of spells, magic items, and silly class features that can distort logic and reason around them. In other words, 3.5.
Yeah, Larian as a company can do a flowchart for their game. You as a DM no matter who the you in this case may be, probably can't.
I mean, to be fair, when Larian's doing it, they're doing it because they know exactly what tools you will always have.
Also, yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, modding. Damn. Just like an actual additional splat book in the future.
Yeah. But yeah, my preferred method for anything open-ended that the PCs may be doing is to gather all the tools I need, like NPC stat profiles, maps that match the terrain types, bags of Doritos to stall for time and such, and maybe detail out the things they are likely to not be able to avoid so you can run whatever encounters you need and adjudicate the rest with roleplay and, I don't know, monkey knife fights or something.
But where are the Cheetos?
In the fridge.
That's where the Mountain Dew is.
But I'm not going to go over too much of the finer details in DMing because, okay, next week is the Dungeon Master's Guide 2, and we'll cover that a lot more.
There you go.
Yep. And here's some examples of battle maps and day-to-day movements, which, if these weren't blurry, would actually be kind of neat. Also, this is easier to do in the modern era than when this book came out, because this is like 2006 or so.
Yeah.
You could find a lot of tools online for doing stuff like this. Let's see. Also, various ideas for like battlefield terrain as like a shorthand. So, like, if this was actually like 2006 or 2005, I forget exactly when this book is. Pretty sure we're still in 2005, actually. Yeah, that is May of 2005, actually. But yeah, you would be drawing generally on a playmat, so having like a decent legend like this for the various types of terrain would save you a lot of time when setting the game up. And some basic military organization stuff. Or wait, no, this one. And here's the part where I throw a bag of Doritos because I lost my where I was in my notes. Oh yes, also some decent ideas for various battlefield trusting. Yeah, mundane hazards. Nice stuff there. Let's see. And rewards for missions, including recognition points and victory points, which are detailed later, so we'll talk about them later. And back here, how to repair the session when your carefully laid plans weren't flexible enough to deal with a cleverly executed, I don't know, used rope check.
When players decide to be players.
Yep. Also random encounters, but there's no tables past this, so moving on. Battlefield encounters. This is the toolbox chapter. And in the very first sample encounter here, you can see a unique problem a DM will have to solve for in one way or another when doing a battle scenario. The sheer amount of NPCs on the field. Yeah, so you look at this encounter. In addition to the players themselves, you have allied forces of a sniper and 20 dudes. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. And enemy forces of either 10 or 20 or 20. These are thankfully ors, but... So... There's 4 players and 41 NPCs. Anyone who has been in a combat encounter that involves 2 different sides of NPCs knows how much time actually resolving what they do can take. To the point where it can sometimes feel like the DM is masturbating with himself. It's,
Look, he's really proud of his voice working. He's given every character unique sounds.
That's right.
Funimation will still not call him back.
Oh, that's also right.
Can't imagine why. But yeah, there are a lot of these in here, and figuring out how to run these quickly will save you a lot of trouble in the long run. Maybe just assume literally average number of hits and damage or something. I don't know. Figure it out. At least when it comes to them, when it comes to NPCs attacking NPCs, it's a little more interesting when they're fighting players, obviously. Some missions are a little bit better because this one for destroy artillery, you're probably not going to fight a fort that has all of this stuff head on. So you can narrate away like, oh, they're being a distraction over the fuck here, and you're fighting. I'm going to just pick and choose some of this stuff while the rest of them is dealing with stuff over here. Okay. And, oh yeah, here's some specific units, for some flavor. Shock troops, commander anew, scout terrain, team, etc. And some more examples. Like some demons on the battlefield, etc. That's okay. And XP on the battlefield and how to handle it, though any campaign should do the new fashion milestone leveling. This is a good candidate for one, because there's when it comes to like battlefield missions, killing is less the point and more accomplishing the mission is kind of what you're going for. Also, like having the 20 orcs get whittled down a bit and then run away is more what you're trying to do rather than trying to kill them to a man. Not that killing to the man is a bad thing per se, but they are very likely to break before you can get all of them, and there's a lot of them. If they realize that they're fighting PCs and this is just going to go badly. Especially that is actually kind of built into later rules that we'll go over as well. And yeah, rules of war. Or how to battle. So this starts with the what's and how's of catapults, which is predictably an overbuilt pile of nonsense that a reasonable designer would have reduced to a few simple rules. So first, they have to aim the catapult, which is the crew chief needs to make a DC 15 profession siege engineer check. They can take 10s, so there's at least that. So, which means they need at least a +5 intelligence or to actually have ranks in siege engineer. Depending on the crew is how many people have to take full round actions to do this aim. Now, after it's aimed, then you have to load it, which is another DC 15 siege engineer check, and at least one person has to do a DC 10 strength check, which will never be a trivial check. And to make that worse. Now again, they can take a 10 on it at least, so that happens. Then, after they aim it, they can shoot it at the ground, and I'm already going into way more detail than this needs to happen. It's its own it's its own unique attack roll with the base attack plus intelligence, by the way, versus an AC of 15, and then if it misses, it scatters.
I might be skipping ahead here a bit, but not just with this, but in general, it seems like this was the age when, okay, we found D&D that works for the masses. More people are interested in our game. We've made a system that, for broad strokes, works. However mid a bunch of its stuff might be. So let's stat out everything someone could possibly want to do with our system, and this is them doing that, but with an entire war, where it just breaks down because you don't want to deal with the minutia of war, because you're playing D&D and not whatever the War for North Africa board game, where you have to do individual rations of water. Campaign for North Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're playing D&D, not campaign for North Africa. If you wanted to do this kind of minutia, there's games for that. You're probably playing Dwarf Fortress.
Some extent, it's a little bit of that, but it's a lot more of... This is probably, if anything, streamed down from what you would get in AD&D, so it is actually coming more off of the almost pure simulationist nature of the older edition, as there's a lot of designers that were writing for TSR that are also still writing for Wizards of the Coast, doing 3.5.
The fact that this is pared down from what it used to be terrifies me.
Yeah, at the very least, this has a universal system. I couldn't guarantee you that anything would involve a D20 for firing a siege weapon in AD&D. I have not looked specifically for rules for doing that stuff, but I would not be surprised.
Never assume things can't contain more clutch.
Hey,
They can always make more clutch. Hey, I see you're back from playing popular game.
I am back from playing popular game.
Yes. We refuse to name it because I would date the podcast. Or
No, we care. Night Ring. I was playing Elden Ring Night Ring on launch day.
Ah, you're spoiling the joke.
I mean, he made a brief return to the Lands Between region to study it for a future Pokemon Monday stream.
I don't have the Pokemon trainer character yet. They have to unlock them apparently.
Yeah, you're visiting there so you can unlock your trainer. They have trainer classes now.
But yes,
the innovation of Pokemon games are amazing.
But yes, we're going over the joys of the catapult, and it's fucking nonsense.
Joys, yeah, I caught that part.
Yep. Oh yeah,
I came in right about you're saying, yeah, and then add your intelligence bonus, and I went, oh god, why?
Look, there's some nerd out there that when they saw this said, oh yeah, this is what I've wanted. And then they were promptly thrown out of their friend's house for being that guy.
Yep. So in any case, since I wasn't quite done yet, let's see. It's a -6 if you can't see what you're shooting at. Though you get a +2 per miss you've had previous to hit with this thing until you actually hit the target. Then when you figure out where it actually landed, everything there and in adjacent squares needs to make a DC 15 reflex save for half, because that. And let's see, the next part of my notes is seriously why. The miss and scatter is fine, the attack roll and the saves maybe, but the rest of the D20 rolls are kind of dumb and overly clunky, as is the modifiers. So yeah, it's a better idea that I don't sketched out in like 30 seconds in my head here. X actions to prepare, just do a single profession check to find out whether the stone scatters, and reflex saves for half. There, done. Or just decide where they hit each round, as the PCs aren't going to be the ones shooting these things anyways. All this to mimic a fraction of the power of the blaster caster.
Now, don't forget the ones that just talk campaigns. One of our characters implicitly made someone whose whole purpose was firing siege weapons.
Yes, but I believe that was at least a cannon, which was funny. But,
it was.
So yeah, here's a basic weapon table for this. The dice do actually get up to a decent amount. Like, the heavy trebuchet does go up to 14 dice. It's still a DC 15 reflex save. It never goes up from that, but that's there at least. Let's see. And next. Alright, so way too many words for various conventional battlefield tactics. As someone who has read through and or looked at a lot of these books in a row, I can, without having it told to me, absolutely confirm they are just trying to fill space a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. And more useful analysis of some of the common D&D mechanics as they're applied to the battlefield, like Bardic Knowledge, Divination spells. Here's stuff that knowledge checks can do. Leadership. Which in general works pretty well for battlefield stuff. Scouting, etc. Okay, on to morale. So, this is a role returning from the depths of the old school era. Morale was a common thing for monster encounters in the early editions. This is meant for NPCs only, as it was in the early editions, but the DM can be a dick and make the player characters follow these rules too, I guess. Basically, it's a DC 20 will save taken when either when the NPC is at half health or when the entire group is taking casualties, with a table of modifiers because 3-5. Group saves use the average, which is fine for a homogeneous group, and a math equation that you should do in advance otherwise if you have a mixed group of various enemies or allies. Failed checks basically move the unit one step down the fear scale, basically normal to shaken, shaken to frightened, and frightened to panic, although they have a special thing of on a 1 instead they become crazed, which is a table of mostly bad, but I do find funny nonetheless.
And berserk.
They can berserk.
What are their rules for dealing with the party who is, as in the players whose morale is at an all-time low, because the DM has whipped out this book?
He already said he throws Doritos out. What more do you want?
So, the morale checks are actually fine for enemy NPCs just to figure out when they break, basically.
Yep.
That's more what it's meant for. Because the second they hit, like, frightened, they're running. And panicked is they're basically gone. But it also applies basically to, like, allied units you might have around as well. Which is where the rally check kind of comes into play as well. The rallying check itself is a hard check to rig. It is your commander rating, more on that later, plus charisma, and is better used kind of preemptively because the DCs just go up based on how far you're trying to get. Yeah, it's like DC 20 to get them up 1 check. This is never... A DC 20 is never going to be trivial because just because the modifiers just can't get that high, really. Unless you have an immense charisma. Like, rank basically caps out at, like, 7. It's only really hard... It's only really a high difficulty when you're trying to go, like, 2 steps up. It's a flat 20 if you're just trying to go down 1 step, but, yeah. You can also do a pre-battle rallying cry, which basically moves them 1 step above normal to hardened, which gives them a bonus basically on saves against frightened.
Oh.
This can also be used to negate fear effects from stuff other than morale. It only lasts for a round, but at least it's not bad in that respect. It's at least another use for it. Yeah. And command rating itself, which is kind of a cool reward unique to a battle-oriented campaign. Characters gain command rating as they go up in rank, which has 2 main effects, adding, obviously, to the rally checks, and giving the characters auras, which are adapted from the D&D minis game, and we'll look at it in a second. There are also apparent roleplay elements attached to having ranking characters in the party, and here's a neat table of different names of various ranks in different types of armies. Yeah, so in a barbarian horde, you can be a barbarian, a barbarian, a barbarian, a barbarian, a barbarian. To explain a little anecdote, in first edition D&D, classes as they leveled up had various titles they would go through. So a cleric would start out as like a neophyte and then become like a cardinal or a bishop or something as they leveled up, stuff like that. Except the person who did barbarians hated this idea because it was just kind of a waste of time and energy. Looking through the source, you have to remember this is like 1982, so this is a bigger pain in the ass than it would be nowadays, where you can just type shit into the internet. And also because barbarian, no one has ever called themselves barbarians. That's literally just an insult from another culture. So
Yeah,
he's like, it's like, okay, screw it. Every single level is going to just be barbarian.
I mean, I like the idea of every level barbarian being barbarian. So when you run across them, you're like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a pontiff. What are you? I'm a barbarian. I don't know if I should message you. I can't tell how strong you are based on your title.
Let's see. Oh yeah, looking at the auras. So, auras themselves apply to allies within 30 feet with an inch of 3 or higher, which will notably include the commander themselves. Commanders only have 1 aura, but they can change them as they rank up. They all have prerequisites of one sort or another. All the bonuses here are morale, so they won't stack with each other, and various effects like the Bard's Inspire Courage. These 3 are all of the rank 1 command or rank 1 or command rank 1 auras, so you don't really have much of a choice starting out. It's basically animals and magical beast allies gain +2 on morale saves, and this one actually works on stuff of intelligence 1 or higher, so we'll work on animals usually have intelligence of 2. Allies within 30 feet deal an extra d6 points of damage on attacks of opportunity, or +1 morale bonus on saving throw. That one. Basically that one. You might occasionally get an opportunity attack, but you're mostly going to want this one. Level 2 has more choices than I put here, but this is when you actually start getting things that are at least okay-ish. Just straight up an extra d6 versus undead, which if you're fighting an undead army, yes. Otherwise, no. +1 morale bonus to armor class, and I don't know of any other effect in the game that gives you a morale bonus to armor class, so that's probably going to be fine.
It does also apply 1 effective character level.
Hmm?
It also applies 1 level adjustment whenever you take that feat.
Oh, the
or whenever you have that ability. It increases AC, which is clearly a thing that requires a level adjustment.
Oh yes, obviously. Certainly, it's horribly broken. We're going to increase everyone's level by 1 for no reason. But yeah, conversely here, yep, undead allies within 30 feet that have an intelligence score of 1 or higher get to do an extra d6, which I think won't apply to most of an undead army, actually.
Yeah, I presume most undead armies are made of, like, zombies and skeletons, so...
Yeah.
Army of liches.
Yep.
If your armies of liches or vampires doesn't need an extra d6 damage on living targets.
No, not really. It's helpful, but it's more of a matter of what other auras are you going to have, especially if you have more than one commander in the party, or more than one person with rank in the party. Then there's this and then archery is +1. Level 3 is where you start to get the, like, here's something specific to races, so here's the elf one as an example for +2 morale. Melee is just straight up +1 to melee attacks, which is good, but again, that's both this one and the archery one are going to overlap with a bard if you have it, and various magic effects as well, which will give you morale bonuses, but they're good in a vacuum at the very least. +5 foot bonuses, or +5 foot speed. That on the other hand, you're not going to get a morale bonus to speed from, I don't think, anything else in the game. I cannot recall anything giving you that. It might exist, but I seriously doubt it. There are a lot of bard prestige classes that have their own silly list of bard songs, so there might be one, but I can't think of one. And spell singing commander, spells just deal an extra d6, so sure, why not? And finally, when you get to level 5, you can choose one of these 4 if you are of the proper alignment. These are all of them. Which, if I remember, there is double strike. If you're chaotic evil, you can get the flanking one. Let's see, this lawful good one, which is an armor bonus against foes who've moved at least 5 feet before attacking, which is easy to rig. You just take a 5-foot step back. And a bonus on morale checks, yeah. So yeah, the auras are kind of slim pickings, to some extent. Especially if you have an entire party of 4 commanders. But you could probably still make something out of them. Like, the first aura is... the first character is probably going to have an aura that is worthwhile of one sort or another. You may just end up with, like, a +1 morale bonus to armor class, but that's fine. It's nothing amazing. I mean, this is basically coming as a free extra reward anyways. It's not, like, a part of a character class until we get to the prestige class, but we'll get to the prestige class later. And then there's this. Victory points. Figuring out which side wins a battle based on a number given out as a reward to players for doing things. Well, some people might find this a bit gamey. I actually kind of like this idea as a way of quantifying a battle progress and giving the players a better understanding of what needs to be done to win a battle in a much simpler way than trying to convey the same information with words. On the other hand, this is 3.5. So they overcomplicate the idea and use way too many words. So I suggest using this concept and ditching the unnecessary complexity if you're going to do something like this. Just to have a running kind of score on each side and just tell the players how it works. This is because I do find actual value in gaming this kind of information. But at the same time, like, A35 designer likes to overcomplicate things. And no, I don't know why the numbers are so big.
There's 8 paragraphs
Yeah.
to tell you about just assisting your friendly troops with kind words. Instruction, healing. Like 8 paragraphs.
Do they have examples?
Okay, one of the paragraphs is examples, but it's like, but then there's a formula needed.
Yeah, there's that too. Let's see. Attack enemy siege engines. At the very least, this giant section is examples. This section is probably okay. Looking at it. 10 extra turnover friendly. Yeah, I'd probably say at least that one's fine. This is way more than it needs, etc. Not going to interrogate all of that, but yeah. Oh yes, and recognition points. Earned during a battle for doing things and spent afterwards for rank promotion and decorations. It's actually the default way of gaining character rank, and also decorations. So to explain, after a battle, the points are normally split evenly between promotion and decoration, but one side of that split can be traded for 3/4 of the other side because math. Decorations themselves are a stacking bonus on diplomacy and intimidate checks versus certain individuals. This is still far less complicated than Legion of Honor. And it's actually not a bad system in and of itself, except for the decorations part of the system is okay, I guess. Do you really need that part? I don't know, but the idea of at least like getting rank promotions based on like little extra things you do, or promotion points based on little extra things you do, is at least kind of neat. Okay, the military character. Starting with skills. Okay, we're done with skills. Going into feats. Using skills on the battlefield works the same as using skills anywhere else. Here's some the suggestions aren't particularly interesting. And more feats I kind of sort of care about talking about. So for some reason there's ballista proficiency. Why you couldn't just throw this into martial weapon proficiency is beyond me, but there's a feat for it, because why not, I guess. Block arrows is kind of neat, which does exactly what it says. It lets you block arrows with a shield. Once per round, you just negate a range attack.
Just do it.
Yeah. Does not work on siege weapons, obviously, or boulders hurled by giants, etc.
Yeah.
Expanded Aura of Courage, so if you want your Aura of Courage to, instead of be 10 feet, be 60, which could be interesting if you figured out some way of, if A, you fight a lot of dragons, or B, you figured out some way of tacking other effects onto your Aura of Courage.
Yeah.
Guerrilla Scout, which exists to annoy me. So, +1 bonus on initiative, and listed in spot now only cost 1 rank, even if you're cross-classing them, but still have cross-class rank. Could you not just give them freaking listed in spot as class skills? Do you really have to do this?
Your ranks will still be halved, but you only have to spend 1 point for each of them.
You petty ass. It's just... let's see. Shield Wall. When you're adjacent to an ally and you're both using a shield, just +2 to AC. One more than the +1 to AC feats. And the leadership feats. So feats that you obviously have to have the leadership feat to qualify for. Extra followers, so you can have twice as many followers. Improved cohort, so your cohort can be a maximum of 1 level lower than you. It should be noted that the level of your cohort is dependent on your leadership score.
Yep.
It does technically cap out at 17. Now, mind you, for this to matter, you actually have to be like level 19 or 20 for this feat to do nothing again anymore. But
Yeah.
there's technically that cap. Practice cohort, which your cohort gained from the leadership feat gains any teamwork benefits that you've worked on with the party, in addition to just doing that normally, and doesn't count against the 8 team members because you have a lot of people at the table, and I guess, or a lot of NPCs tagging along with the party.
Yeah.
We'll
You have 8 players, and each of those 8 players has the leadership feat.
Oh, no, it's not
You
feats.
8 your DM.
Yes, there we go. Everyone has the leadership feat because everyone wants to take up a lot of fucking time at the table. Oh wait, that was. And here's improved cohort again because apparently I didn't realize I put it twice. Ignore
I
me.
wanted to emphasize it.
Yep. All right. On to the prestige classes, starting with combat medic. So, let's see. Full caster with a healing bend. Literally, you need cure light. Yeah, you need to be able to cast cure light wounds to get into here. So they get plus class level to everyone. Yeah, plus class level to everyone within 30 feet. And wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. The ability to add effects to heal spells in the form of either Sanctuary, or eventually they get to add class level to reflex saves, or at max level, 8 plus class level temporary HP. I don't know why they didn't just say 13. There is technically ways of pseudo making the class level go higher in Unearthed Arcana, and I think only in Unearthed Arcana, but ignoring that for the moment. Other things they gain, plus class level when casting defensively to the concentration check. The mobility feat, they have dodge already, so they qualify automatically. Evasion, which isn't bad. And the ability to spontaneously cast heal. And that's it. So they're fine. They're exactly what they say on the tin, but they're nothing really amazing.
It has full casting progression, so sure.
Yeah, it's bad attack bonus, good reflex save. You can do worse. And it's
like if you were doing a cleric and wanted it, you already have good fort and will. You don't have good reflex, so getting a good reflex out of it actually boosts that is more effective than really the fort and will. You already have decent saves for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you lose a little base attack bonus, but it's fine.
Yeah. If you're doing a healer anyways, the base attack bonus probably isn't something you're concerned with anyways.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing this, you are a dedicated healer, because that's really what you're doing here.
Yeah, and you get evasion out of it too, which is good.
Yeah. Okay, Dread Commando. Full base attack bonus and full sudden strike progression. And on its skill class. Also D8 hit die, which is not bad for this edition. Considering a rogue is a D6. And a ranger is a D8.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in any case, they get, in addition to that, plus class level, plus class level when fighting defensively. I'm reading the wrong entry again, except I'm going up instead of down this time. Plus class level to everyone's within 30 feet's initiative check, which is actually pretty good. Significantly reduced armor check penalties, large enough to wear either breastplate or mithril full plate with no penalty when you're sneaking around.
Yeah, eventually -4. So
yeah. Reduce penalties when moving faster while you're being stealthy. And that's it. So, Sudden Strike needs a feature like Ninja's Invisibility good for anything except some ambush damage, and this class doesn't offer Ninja anything special over more level over what you would just get for being more levels in Ninja. It's by no means awful and can scout in armor, which is neat, I guess, but the effectiveness drops a lot after the first round of combat. Those Sudden Strike damage just kind of disappear.
Yeah, you can still feint to do it, but
you can still feint to do it. There's a few other things.
It is tougher to get than sneak attack.
Yeah. Something I
but
didn't.
Then,
something I didn't mention when we were doing Ninja or covering Ninja, but Sunstrike dice or Sunstrike dice also count as sneak attack dice for qualifying for everything, basically feats, prestige class, etc.
Good. You can use this to get into assassin.
You could technically. I mean, technically, yes, I would rather be this than assassin, but yes, you could use it for qualifying for assassin. You can also probably qualify for assassin before going into this class. Okay, legendary leader. This is the leadership feat, the prestige class. You need leadership to get into here, but that's pretty much it, actually. It gives you straight up immunity to fear, a growing luck bonus to all saves, actual straight up commander rank equal to your class level, plus class level to diplomacy, greater command the spell as a spell like ability, which eventually becomes they eventually do twice per day. You can rally as a free action once per round. You gain a bonus leadership feat. Once per day, you can auto succeed a save, and 2 different capstones of a second commander aura and immunity to fear for all followers and cohorts within line of sight of you. It's a functional class even outside the battlefield setting of this book, and kind of interesting as a support class that supplements its own leadership feat, which is a decent way of balancing out a powerful feat. The only issue the class might actually have is finding things to do with its actions, being a mediocre attacker who wants high charisma and doesn't do spells good. But
but you could be like a fighter, just go into it and be fine.
Yeah, you don't lose too much. It's like a couple base attack.
Yeah, you lose like 2 base attack, which is
Also,
whatever.
Also, I'd probably be like at least 4 levels of martial, because that doesn't actually. It loses 1 level of base attack, but it gives you a +1 to attack anyway, so it kind of balances that out, and has decent enough features for the first 4 levels. Past that, it drops off, but yeah. There's things you can do, definitely. It's more though you also need charisma, which is just another stat.
Yeah, or you could be a paladin. I mean, paladin would lose some damage on smite, but ultimately that's not the worst thing in the world to give up like 5 smite damage.
Yeah. Especially if you have a fairly decent cohort tagging along anyways. Yeah, you would...
and you already want people close to you for auras anyways, so...
Yeah. Leadership itself has a base... you need to be level 6 to take leadership, so technically you would be level 7 when you get into this class.
But that's the case no matter what you are, so...
Yep. And the final prestige class in this book, and actually the best one here, Warweaver. So, this is an arcane class that gives up a class level for Eldritch Tapestry, which connects you to int bonus characters, or connects int bonus characters to itself, allowing the caster to have harmless/willing spells that they cast on themselves of basically their class level or lower affect all connected characters in the spell's range.
Nice.
You cast a buff spell on yourself and all other characters in the party, because you're going to have a good int bonus because you're doing this class. Also get that spell cast on them for free. In and of itself, that by itself almost like sells the class to me. But
I can say that makes them all mass versions just as a class feature. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but there's more. So out of combat, they can weave a number of spells equal to basically their class level -1 that are the same qualifications, harmless willing spells. Harmless/willing spells that are of their class level into the tapestry as passive or that sit inert, that at any time they can do a single move action to just cast all of them. So at level 2, they can put 2 level 3 buff spells into their tapestry, and at the start of combat, just take a move action to cast both of them. And they still have their standard action. So a lot of those spells, the clause, the bit of a clause here is a lot of those buff spells are going to have like a touch range. So the capstone increases the range of all woven spells by 1 range increment. Touch spells will become short will become medium, etc. Really, you just need to become short, honestly. So yeah, this class just rocks, as it helps play a completely different style of spellcasting that actually gives you effective abilities for doing so. The only catch here is the spell ranges until you get to the capstone at a level 11, because you can just go into the straight level 6, but you can kind of work around that.
There's also an oddity I've noticed here that I was reading through.
Mm-hmm.
There's no requirement in Eldritch Tapestry that the spells you cast have to be arcane spells.
No.
Just a spell.
Yeah.
And you never can cast anything higher than 5th level through it. It's based on your caster, what level you are for level of spell you can cast.
Yeah.
So you could do something like 5 wizard, 5 warweaver, 10 cleric, and then basically get access to most the like quintessential, like basically all the quintessential melee cleric or battle cleric spells, and just share them with your entire party.
You could, although with one amendment, I would do 3 cleric and then the rest as arcane.
Oh, the combo one.
Yeah. Mystic Theurge.
Yeah, Mystic Theurge.
Yeah, because you might as well.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
But you would, if you get up to 5th level cleric spells, which you get for getting level 9 cleric or cast level 9 in cleric and divine.
Yeah.
You'd have like divine might and all that stuff that you could just then pump the entire party.
Yeah.
It'd be a super high level build, but it would be funny. Plus, you could basically throw every single buff spell up at once with a move action.
Yeah. Yeah, you get 4 buff spells up to level 5, which will easily cover basically everything you'd want as a cleric.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Okay, next, teamwork benefits. Additional... So these are additional things a team can train to do that are akin to the teamwork feats that are from Pathfinder 1st Edition, which is a better system for doing the same idea. A party themselves can have basically a quarter hit dice, so one at level... or 1 for every 4 hit dice that the lowest hit dice character in the party has, so basically 1 for 4, 2 at 8, etc.
Yep.
Here are some examples to show you exactly how wordy this crap gets and how kind of annoying it is for the prerequisites on this stuff. It's like, here's friendly fire evasion. So basically you need a task leader to be able to get this a teamwork benefit, and then everyone else who wants the benefit also needs to meet the member prerequisites. So the task leader, which would needs 4 ranks of spellcraft and the evasion ability. Generally it's a rogue that takes spellcraft ranks, and then everyone else also needs a base reflex save of +2 and spellcraft rank 1, and this gives you evasion but only concerning spells cast by your team members. And then there's the approved version here, which is approved evasion versus spells cast by your team members, etc. There's a good chunk of these. I by no means put all of them here, and they're all kind of along the same lines, and there's a ton of reading for this, and oh god, this is not really worth that much effort. And again, this is requires like the DM to just basically say yes to this as an optional kind of thing. Also, yeah. We'll be talking about this next week because it's also in the next book. Strangely enough. So I'm just going to leave that here for now. Let's see. Alright, on to the magic chapter. Magic spells! Yeah, there wasn't terribly much to go over, but they are very much what you think would be in this book. But yeah, standouts. Let's see. Battle magic perception here. +5 competent bonus on spellcrafts to identify spell. Oh, that's right. This is a standard action. Gives you bonus to identify spells being cast if you have spellcraft. Because you're going to have spellcraft if you're casting the spell. Lets you actually sense spells within 100 feet. Make a spellcrafting check that you're probably going to pass to do it. And lets you just counterspell as a free action. So that last part. You don't even have to have a line of sight. If somebody's casting around a corner, you can still counterspell. It ends the spell to do this, but it is actually like neat if you are doing or are done focusing on counterspelling. Also, it has like a 10-minute per level, so it's a nice thing to just go into combat with if you know you're about to start a combat with potentially a spellcaster. Drums of War. Bard does some drumming. All enemies within range take a -2 penalty on their attack rolls and saving throws for as long as you play +1 round per level. There is no save on this. This is for once, an area debuff of medium range that actually doesn't have a save. It's a level 4 bard spell, so it's not the lowest, but it's still nice.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then stuff to... That was actually kind of it when it came to the more useful spells. These were just more interesting. Battlefield Fortification, which straight up lets you make trenches and berms. Which is cute and probably abusable in one way or another if you're creative with this. And Animate Siege Weapon, which I think I just described the entire spell, and that also amuses me just for that reason.
It's me, the trebuchet golem!
Note that battering ram is something you can actually animate with this as well.
I'm gonna slam my face into the door now for you, boss. Wham! Not yet. Wham! Not yet. Wham! This is gonna take a while.
So now I got it. Now I question, how does a catapult work rules wise if it itself is its wielder?
It actually, I think, went over in this one.
Oh god.
Siege weapon attacks are...
Fucking nerds.
The siege weapon can operate itself as if it were crewed by a normal complement of operators. It automatically succeeds any checks required to operate it. It uses your caster level as the attack bonus when acting as a siege weapon. In other words,
the animated version of it is much simpler and straightforward than the actual one.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Let's see. Then getting into the magic item section. Here's where all the crests, which are at least a neat idea, because these are just placed on a shield with an enhancement bonus. Then you basically get a minor bonus, and then there's like a once per day. You have to have one of these qualifiers in order for the once per day to use the once per day power, which includes the leadership feat, a commander aura, or somebody just said you can do so. They're not terribly great, but you could pass them out as a reward to players, and that would at least be kind of neat. Similarly, there's not terribly much in here that's all that interesting, but magic weapons. Fury stood out, however, because this is, you do an extra d6 while raging as a +1 bonus. This is just an auto take for any barbarian, because that's pretty much just, I do d6 extra damage for a +1 bonus. But yeah, beyond that, nothing terribly interesting there. Oh yeah, some of these enchantments are also just meant for, like, ammunition specifically, because you have siege weapons. Also on this page, again, nothing too terribly interesting. Arming was amusing, because this is a rod that stores everything you're wearing and your weapons. And as a standard action, just you automatically don all of that. So it's at least kind of neat for walking around, I guess.
That's places. A magical girl transformation stick.
Yep. Exactly. And here's these, and then getting to wondrous items, the most notable thing here is these blast discs, which certainly aren't landmines. Also here are standards and magical siege or magic siege engines in case the player characters want to use siege engines to throw tons and tons of money into them in order to make them extra fucking ridiculous. Including their own magical properties like self-loading, etc. And here's some specific siege engine ammunition as well. This continues for a while, by the way. Some nice little pictures of them. Let's see. And some appendixes for sample armies. Here's a human army, here's an old army, here's an orc army, etc., etc. Appendix 2 for sample soldiers, so stats for sample soldiers. Appendix 3 for battlefield steeds. Here's a brass steed. There's more stuff like that. And then, the back cover of this book. This certainly was a book.
It was a book.
Yeah, that's pretty much my opinion on it. It's crunchy bits for player characters isn't too great, but I wouldn't really expect it from that either. The idea is kind of neat, but it is very narrow to basically have a party runs around on battlefield instead of runs around in dungeon as kind of a setting. But also, this is kind of when D&D starts moving away from everyone done be dungeon delving and more into because even just looking at the modules of the era, that's not, there are dungeons in the modules, but there's also just stuff going on outside of that as well, traveling around, etc. So going from that the we're going to go into a dungeon versus we're going to fight on a battlefield as the standard thing is different, but not really. It's kind of a narrow audience for that in the first place.
I understand that there is somewhere in the world a desire from a small but vocal group of people that they want to do warfare in D&D. Like they have a campaign,
Yeah.
They want to do a war campaign, basically. I just don't. I think this book is everything that people make fun of in pen and paper RPGs made manifest.
That is kind of the problem with it. It's an idea. The problem is it's built in 3.5. Yeah. Because Shiv, you weren't here for my intro to this book, but basically, this is not a mass combat system. This is a book that very much details playing as a party of adventurers, or well, not really adventurers per se, but kind of the same idea. But the setting is you are soldiers in an army that's fighting a war or fighting on a battlefield, rather than you are adventurers diving into a dungeon. It is not the mass. It is not the mass battle rules per se. But yeah, as far as that part is concerned, it's the tip. It's kind of good to mine for ideas. There were some things here, so I'm not going to say it's terribly bad about that. And you can use it as kind of a chapter in your RPG. It's like the adventurers have been drafted off to fight on this one battle, so we can kind of borrow stuff from this book to use it. But oh god, is it overbuilt by a lot? And trying to actually use all of these rules will drive anyone insane, I think. Unless this is like the dedicated campaign that you always play with your type of campaign that you always play with your friends at a table, and really insist on playing like 3.5 or Pathfinder first. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on it. Anyone else have anything to add?
Not particularly.
I only came in partway through the seed section, but it's a book.
Yeah, it's a book. It's. Yeah. I don't want to call it the worst because I'd have to go over like. I don't know if it's the worst one we've seen. Oh, it's not the Player's Handbook, so it's not the worst one we've seen. But
it's not Player's Handbook tier.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. It has a job it wants to accomplish, and
I'd put my money down on this. I would say this is the worst one we've covered.
It probably is.
I'm not joking when I say that. Whatever gripes you may have about the Player's Handbook, it's at least introducing the very basic concepts of a pen and paper RPG to people, and doing it in a way that, at its point in time, was better than most people's on the market. It was moving away from the advanced, like, back of a napkin math you had to do for advanced Dungeons and Dragons at a certain point.
/ open the book and find the table that tells me which number I need to roll to not explode.
This is a book where if you ever saw it, it would be the book that one of your players pulled out because they want to use a thing from it. It is never going to be the thing.
Yeah,
I mean, you could want to do a warfare campaign. I just think you'd be better off figuring out other rules for doing a warfare campaign.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah,
the rules you learn in this are bad.
Yeah, kind of. You can mine stuff from here. It's not completely like throwaway.
Yeah, like I said.
Like, yeah. If you were actually doing that type of campaign, I would actually recommend this book to mine for ideas.
Yeah, use it as a core to give you concepts and ideas, and then work on figuring out something better for your actual group and table.
Yeah.
Like the player options in here are mostly fine.
Yeah.
Like the teamwork feats are fine. The leadership feats are fine.
Yeah.
Not,
Teamwork
all that's
benefits, they're
perfectly
not
viable.
feats. But yeah.
Their benefits, yeah.
Yeah.
But like all the player options are perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's the kludge of their idea for a war campaign, which is the real issue.
Yeah. But yeah, that will do it for D&D in Hindsight for this week. Stay tuned for our new game we done
Actual
be
Thursday,
streaming. Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned for Warhammer 40k Chaos Gate Demon Hunters.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, we will be right back, give or take.